Hello and welcome to the first iteration of Why Am I Here and What Am I Doing Today? Today, of course, I'm telling you how to do a VTuber setup if you want to be a silly little blue vixen on the internet like I am right now, or if you want to be a talking banana, or who the heck knows, maybe you want to be a sentient piece of poop. I am not here to judge. You do you. You do you, internet. You do you. The first question that I ask you then is, why do you want to do this? Do you want to become famous? Do you want to do it for the lulz? Do you want to do it for the money? Do you want to do it for the girls or the guys or both? I don't know. But that's the first question. Why is it that you want to do this for? Because if you're starting out a VTubing thing, if you're starting out a streamer thing, and the only reason you're doing that is to get famous, stop. Stop right now. Becoming famous on Twitch or any other platform requires an insane amount of work. It's not going to happen overnight, and if you start with that mentality that that's your goal, you want to become famous, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It's going to eat at your psyche. You're not going to have a good time. So don't do it for that. That's the wrong reason to start, and if that is the only reason why you want to do this, then maybe consider something else. Now, if you're here just to do it for the lulz, just to do it with the friends, just to do it for the hobby, then you're here for the right reasons, and we can absolutely continue, because that's exactly how I started it, and I guarantee you that is why most people started doing this, and how they started doing this. They didn't start it to become famous. I can guarantee you that most of the YouTubers today that are super famous didn't start YouTubing just to become famous. They started it because it was fun. It was something they wanted to do. It was something they wanted to share with their buddies. But it caught up, and they were super funny, and all of a sudden they had hundreds, thousands, millions viewers, and now they're famous, and now they're doing their stuff, and that's great. But don't start expecting that. So on today's episode of whatever this is, we're concentrating more on the traditional desktop tubing or desktop VTubing, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, because what it is you not wanting to show your face, or even if you do want to show your face, you want to rather be something else, whether that be that talking banana, the blue vixen that I am, or something completely different. VTubing is all about whatever you want to be. It's whatever presentation you want to push out of yourself. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on YouTube, Twitch, or whatever Mixer used to be. I never used it. I heard it was great, but I guess it's no longer there. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. VTubing is just what I'm doing right now, and today we're concentrating on the desktop side of that. The third thing we're going to be discussing today is, of course, who are you? Are you a talking pickle? Are you a blue vixen? Are you a pile of poop or a talking hamburger? It doesn't really matter, but you should know what you want to be, because the next thing you're going to think about is where you're going to find that. So I'm going to be putting a ton of links in the description. You may want to check those, but the site I'm going to be talking today is Gumroad, and that site is really, really great for finding you. There's so many different creators in there that create everything from those piles of poop that talk to, of course, my current avatar, which, by the way, is made by Ghostly. Ghostly is extremely talented, and I would highly recommend for you to check them out. The link will be in the description, and while you're down there in the comments, why not check out the subscribe button as well, and maybe give it a click. It's the freest, most easiest form of supporting this channel if you want to see more content such as what I'm doing right now. Because I haven't really been doing a lot of videos, and I figured, you know, I've been streaming for about a year. I could give you guys a couple of hints as to how to actually do this, because it is hard. It's hard to figure out where you can get everything. It's hard to figure out where you have all the software and how you use all of that software, and I would be more than happy to help you out to start with. I actually have a background in doing trainings, so I would say I'm usually pretty good at verbalizing some of this stuff in an easy to understand bites. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry, because half the time I don't either. Now, when you first open up Gumroad and you click on Discover, you get yourself a little search products bar. At that point, you can start searching for whatever you want to find. If that is, for example, a fox avatar, we can write in here fox. And as you click enter, it'll give you some really cool results, like, for example, the Santiago fox. If you want something else, you can just keep clicking on that, you can keep searching, and eventually you will find what you're looking for. Okay, Luna, you say, now I've gotten myself an avatar, I have myself a good reason to start, I know what I'm gonna play, but what am I gonna actually put this avatar into? How do I make myself talk? How do I present myself in the stream? What are the applications that I can use to do that with? Well, dear viewer, I will tell you. What you need to do is get yourself an application, either Vseeface, FaceRig, Animaze, one of those things. It doesn't really matter what you use. I personally use Vseeface because it is very easy to use, it is very versatile, and has a lot of plugins, which allow you to create even more immersive viewer experiences, such as throwing stuff at you, making your persona shake, dropping things on you, and even more. There are even more plugins that are upcoming for that, which I've seen and I'm actually currently exploring. And I can talk more about how to set up Vseeface in a future video. Right now, just know that this is the tool that I use, and actually the tool that a lot of streamers that I know of use as well. Simply because it is easy, it's versatile, and it has a lot of plugins. I know your next question is gonna be, well, I just got myself that talking hamburger avatar and it comes in a VR chat format, so how do I get it into the tool that you just told me about? Well, most of these tools, such as Vseeface, FaceRig even, and even Live, which we will talk about in a version or an episode of this same thing, assuming you guys like this one, about how to do VR VTubing, will take a format called VRM. And that's the next step. That's what you gotta do next. You gotta convert that VR chat avatar into a VRM template. Now, as you do that, you need a couple of tools. Again, I will have those links in the description there to do so. And we will also be able to talk about that in the future episode as to exactly how to do that. There are good guides as to what you need to do when you convert a VR chat avatar into a VRM avatar. There's a lot of YouTube guides for that already. So your next question, of course, is, well, what about a microphone and webcam? Well, let me tell you, webcams, you don't need anything fancy. If it can do full HD, that's great, but it doesn't even really have to do that. All it needs to do is record you in 30 frames per second, preferably. And it can do a potato quality, as long as it can do some light correction so it can see your face, even if it's a little bit darker, that's enough. Because the Vseeface application itself doesn't use a very good picture. All it has to do is just recognize your head and your mouth and your eyebrows and of course your eyes, so that it can detect that you're blinking, and that's it. That's all it needs. When it comes to microphones, you might want to invest a little bit into that. For example, myself, I am actually not using the original microphone of my current headset. I'm using an Antlion wireless microphone because, in my humble opinion, voice is what matters. If you sound like garbage, people are not going to be coming to watch you. The other thing is, if your sound is really, really bad, it may be a little bit difficult for your Vseeface or whatever application you're using to understand you, because that's how, for example, right now you're seeing my mouth move as I'm talking. That's what it's doing. It is recognizing what I'm saying and basically basing itself off of that on what kind of motions my mouth should be making. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to go buy yourself a $100, $200, or $500 microphone, because that is absurd and you should not need to do that unless you just really want to have that best XLR microphone you can absolutely have. However, I am saying that you should have something decent. Don't go buy that $5 Walmart microphone, or wherever you're from. If you're not from the US, then little microphone or whatever from Aldi. Don't do that, because most of the time the sound quality is absolutely awful and nobody is going to be listening to you if you sound like you're constantly in a hurricane wind. The seventh point here is lighting. Is that important when you're doing VTubing? Yes and no. It really depends, because, for example, I wear glasses. I need a ring light in order for the application to realize that I'm blinking. Otherwise, it just kind of spazzes out and looks really, really funky. Now, if you want to have your blinking working successfully and you are wearing glasses, that's when you need a ring light. Other than that, as long as you have semi-lit room, it should be fine. However, consider the fact as well that if you're not using lighting and you're making your camera fix that lighting for you, what happens, it starts lagging. It does have a slight delay, which means your facial expressions will also be slightly delayed. Now the delay is just like 5 to 15 to maybe 20 milliseconds, so it's not really all that visible, but if you want that crispness, you may want some additional lighting. Point number 8, what software to use when streaming. Now, there's a lot of those on the market right now. There are some that are not free, some that are free, and some that are just weird, and I don't know why people are using them. Personally, I use OBS. However, I started my streaming career as using SLOBS, and I say career, I'm not a full-time streamer. I do have a job outside of my streaming, so no, it's not really a career, it's more like a hobby. I personally use OBS instead of Streamlabs OBS, even though Streamlabs OBS is easier to set up. OBS has a lot of plugins which allow you to customize your stream further. It allows you to put in shaders, closed captions, and things such as that. While Streamlabs OBS is good as well, and it comes packed with all sorts of functionalities, it ultimately, for me, ran out of things that I could do, and I just moved back to OBS. The choice is yours. If you want easy versus customizable, then definitely go with the Streamlabs OBS rather than the OBS itself. Now, that choice is completely up to you, and it will absolutely make no difference whatsoever to the end result of the VTubing thing. Point number 9, how do you set this up on a scene within SLOBS or OBS? The reason why I'm saying both is because this is done the same way in both of them. What you want to do is open up your Vseeface, and in Vseeface you click Add Avatar. Once you've clicked that, it'll open up a file browser where you can find your VRM files, and in there you select a VRM file and click Open. Once you've clicked Open, it'll pop up in here and you can select it. Before you click Start though, make sure you select your camera settings, your camera frame rate, tracking quality, and microphone as well for the microphone you want to use. Then click Start. Now the other important thing is to make this scene transparent, which you can do by clicking the button over here on the lower right corner. Now in your OBS, make sure that you select a new source by clicking the plus icon on your sources and selecting a game capture. Once you've selected game capture, make sure to rename that to whatever you feel like you want it to be called. And then select the window which has your Vseeface in it. And in there, make sure that you enable transparency. And also make sure your cursor is hidden. And then go ahead and click OK. And there you go. Now you can also move this, resize this, and make it look the way you want. Now, if you have everything set up correctly, you should be ready to click Start that stream and become what you've always dreamed of becoming, which is the sentient talking burger on the internet who plays League of Legends or Fortnite. If that's the case, you know, that's you. You do you, and you be amazing at it, okay? Now, if this video helped you at all, leave a comment. That really helps me. Also, if you want to hear about something else, or you want some specific instructions on anything that I've mentioned here today, also leave a comment down below and tell me what that would be. Now, I will hopefully see you in the future iterations of this video, where I may be talking about other things such as how to do VR, VTubing, and what software do you need for that, or what software do I use when I do that. But for now, I will tell you, I hope you have a great night, evening, day, afternoon, and keep staying fluffy, and stay foxy, and stay amazing. I love you guys. Bye-bye.